Hello, it's Georgia here. Thank you for joining me. This is another project for the November 2020 virtual faith art retreat, Waiting for Your Light, which is run through my Facebook group, God's Refrigerator. Now, this is the home decorish part of the retreat when we make a thing. Now, once again, I am making this up on the fly. And as usual, I haven't planned ahead. I don't actually know what the next steps are going to be. We're going to find out. You'll find out when I find out. One thing I have done is not planned very well, because this is what I'm doing. I am going to decorate a jar, and my plan is to shove Christmas lights inside the jar. With this one, have a stained glass effect. So I'm actually going to be using alcohol inks on this particular one. I will hopefully get to doing another jar later on with something different other than inks, if you don't want to be using inks, or if you don't have them or can't use them for any particular reason. Now, you don't have to have Christmas lights. You could use one of those battery operated tea lights. That would probably end up being a lot better than this because, well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But by all means, if you're using alcohol inks, do not use a real candle inside your jar. Okay, the warning has been made. Do not put fire next to your alcohol inks. Bad things will happen. This one's going to be quite a simple one because I have this jar that I don't know if it's showing up very well on your screen, but it's kind of, I don't know what the word is, but it has panels along the side. It's actually a jam jar, but it has like these separate panels, and I kind of thought, well, that would be really cool because I could make each panel a different color. Now, I do want to do a jar that has actually got pictures on it, but I think I'll need to find a smooth surface jar to do that. So with this one, what I'm going to do is I want all the panels to be different colors, and then they kind of stop 3/4 of the way up, and I have this smooth area all around here. So we'll see what I do there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Nuvo crystal drops to separate the colors. So I'm going to use it to draw lines between all these panels. Then I'll let it dry. And once it's dry, I'll then be able to just pour the alcohol ink and it won't go beyond the lines. So you'll need some sort of puffy paint, basically. If you don't have the Nuvo crystal drops, if you have something that's like a puffy paint, or, I mean, I can't give you any brands because I really don't know any, but something that has a very fine tip that you can draw with or do your outlines with. So all I'm doing is I am just, drawing it down the lines of the panel. I'm going to do it along the top and bottom as well. And I'm just going to make my way all the way around the jar. And then once that is done, I am going to leave it to dry overnight. So it's got plenty of time to dry really, really well. And then I'll come back to it tomorrow and I will then pour my alcohol inks over, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it goes well enough for me to actually finish and post this video. Otherwise we'll be like, oh, we don't have a project. Okay, yes, well, I do like to be your guinea pig. I think you know that. So I'll just keep going all the way around, and I might draw some little designs around the top. We'll see what happens, and then I'll show you the next step once it dries. Okay, so this is what I ended up doing. I've got lines separating all the panels, and I've actually drawn a line along the bottom and the top as well, so that every area is actually completely surrounded by the puffiness of the crystal drops. That way the ink can't escape and run anywhere else. I've also drawn some stars all around the top bit, and I've done a line just along the rim there. So everything should be contained, hopefully. Now, I kind of cheated and started working on another jar as well. Now, you probably won't be able to tell. I know it looks like a mess, but I actually saw this great stained glass picture window on Pinterest that I really liked, that had a star, great big star, all around it was stained glass in blues and purples, but this bit coming down here was yellow, and this bottom bit here is kind of the floor, and I don't know if you can tell, but over here is my little manger, which is going to be in the yellow part of the star. So I'm hoping to color that, and hopefully it will work out. We'll see. Now, the best way to do something like this, if you want to do a, an actual picture, stained glass, rather than just a rough design, is to actually get yourself a piece of paper. Oh, sorry, I've got the lights in here. Get yourself a piece of paper that wraps around the inside and draw your design on it. So that's what I've done. I drew the design. There's my star. There's my little manger. And I sort of, worked out where I wanted the lines. Then when you put that inside your jar, you can then, that's why I had the lights in there to hold it nice and tight against the glass. You can then use that as the template to trace your design on the outside of the glass. I'm not sure how it's going to work on this one because it's the same jar as this other one here. So it has the panels, which means it's not a smooth round surface, but it seems to have worked out okay. So we'll see how it goes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my alcohol inks, and I don't actually have that many of them. These are the alcohol inks here. These are other things. So I'm thinking about this one here, and I'm definitely using purple and red, and I will use this one. So these ones are Tim Holtz alcohol inks. So I'm using Purple Twilight, Watermelon, Sailboat Blue. I may, see, I'm still sort of thinking about what I want to do. I might also use, this is Citrus, and then I'm using Couture Creations Alchemy. I'm not sure how this is going to work for me. We will see. Again, I am making this up on the fly and I am experimenting, so we'll see. So I'm sort of thinking, now let me just count my panels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, there are 12 of them. So I'm thinking if I was to go blue, purple, red, yellow, green, that's 5, and then go back 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I'm going to go, I'm going to write this down because that way I can't go wrong. So if I say blue, purple, red, yellow, green, yellow, red, purple, blue, then what did I say? Then I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Blue, purple, red, purple, because that will then go back to blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. Fantastic. Okay, so there'll be a funny little moment where everything's like this, but somewhere along the way we'll get some yellow and green into it. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. We'll see how that looks. So all I'm doing is I'm grabbing my alcohol ink, and do this in a well-ventilated space. I'm simply pouring it and using the dripper nozzle to kind of spread it a little bit. Now this is going to take a while. I mean, it does dry quite quickly, but not instantly. So this will take a while to fill the whole jar, and I'm not going to film the entire thing because, that would be incredibly boring. But this is what I'm doing, and I'm kind of moving the jar around a little bit to let it spread, because otherwise it just wants to sit at the edges of my panel, gravity and all that. And oops, make sure I close that. And once that dries, then I will move on to the next color. So as you can see, because I have the Nouveau Crystal Drops outline, it's not going any further than the panel. So I'm doing the same thing here. And I don't know how wise I am doing 2 at once, because the blue is still drying, so I'm sort of rocking it back and forth. So I think I'm going to have to be doing this over a little bit of time. So this is not a project that you can get done in, you know, half an hour, quickly rush it. You do need time so that you can let bits of it dry before you move on to the next color. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to let that dry, then I'm going to move on to the next one, and I'm going to make my way all the way around and come back to you when I have something more interesting to show. Right, so now please let me just say that this is the first time ever that I have played with alcohol inks on glass. It's probably the first time ever that I've done more than just put a few drops on some photo paper and seen it spread. I haven't really used alcohol inks at all. So, you know, what a crazy thing to do. Hey, let's make some jars. Okay, so these are, you know, these are a bit messy and a bit horrific, but it'll give you the idea of what I had in my head at the time anyway. So this is the one with the panels on it. So, you know, some of it's a bit splotchy. I could go in and put a second layer, but it's just, it ended up being quite difficult and disastrous because the ink was running down the side. But, you know, if you are game, if you're game, give it a go. If you're better than me at alcohol inking, and it's not hard to be because, you know, I'm dreadful, give it a go. If you have some coloured Sharpies, use Sharpies, because I mean, all I have is black and gold, but they are basically an alcohol, I think, marker. I don't know, I'm probably talking rubbish, but Sharpies will work pretty well for you, as I'll show you in a second. So this is the panel one. I know this is a bit weird. This was a sort of the Couture Creations pearl kind of one, and I'd never used it before, and in the bottle it looked yellow. I had a bit of an incident where I opened the new bottle and it squirted and went all over the iPad screen. That was a bit hilarious. But yeah, in the bottle it looked translucent yellow, and it actually dried to be this opaque pearly kind of, but that's okay, I'll live with that. Here's the other one. You know, nothing like what I was planning, but again, first time ever. So here's my star. I actually used a white alcohol ink for the star, and it ended up looking a bit weird. So I then grabbed my Kindy Glitz glitter glue and put silver glitter all over it. So there's the star, and it's come, you know, yellow beams and red and purple and blue on the back. Now down here, I could just not say anything and nobody would know, but you know me, I have to say these things. Down here is supposed to be the little manger. And I tried doing it with brown alcohol ink and it spread and went horrific. So then here is where the Sharpie came in. I coloured it with a Sharpie. So, you know, Sharpies work really well. See, there you go. I'll put another layer. So I thought, you know, gold Sharpie would be really cute. But then it didn't look like anything. And I said to my son, does it look like a manger? And he laughed at me and said, you should not do such intricate work. So then I thought, I know, if I do like little, like, you know, things of light coming out of it, it'll look, you know. So I did these little lines. Oh, I promise I have not had anything to drink today. But I did these little lines and they just look stupid, but then it dried straight away, so I couldn't rub them off. So here we have, I don't know if you can see, yeah, my manger with really weird. Oh, I'm sorry, it's just so funny. You know, these really weird lines. I mean, I have seen stranger Christmas designs this year. Ask me about Echo Park. And we'll get on a whole thing with that. Okay, so these are my jars, right? Now, what I'm going to do is, now my initial plan, and of course, because I don't think things through or plan them, I find out halfway through that things that are in my head are not going to work. Now, my initial plan was that the battery part was going. This is going to be the most hilarious project ever. This is the yeah, this is the Christmas themed retreat. So this is basically God's refrigerator Christmas party, and George is sitting in the corner. She's had way too much to drink. Because look, my initial plan was that the battery compartment was going to stick inside the lid. Oh look, and it kind of does like that, right? But of course it's not going to go on because it's too big. So if you're planning on doing something really clever like that, make sure you choose a jar that's big enough to fit your battery compartment. Now, because it is too big, I thought, well, what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to put it inside, and I'm going to wrap the lights around the outside of it so that, in theory, the lights will shine and you won't really notice that in the middle of them is this battery compartment, and I've got it with a switch facing up so that I can then switch it on and close it. So there you go, hoping you can see that. Yeah, I'm not sure how well it's glowing. If I turn off some lights, oh yeah, that's better, isn't it? So that's that one. And the other one, I haven't put batteries in my other, I do have more lights, but I haven't put batteries in all of them. So here's my, I don't know, I think it's not as bad as I thought it was. There we go, that's kind of pretty, isn't it? Oh dear. So that, yeah, that looks kind of pretty. It's, you know, like it's a bit of a messy job with the alcohol ink. I could have done better, but yeah, as usual, Georgia's playing with something she's never played with before, and not taking the time or practicing. That would have been a good thing. Practice would have been good. So what I'm going to do now is decorate the lids, and once again, I have not thought about what I'm going to do. So I've pulled out a few different things. I pulled out some ribbon, and I have some flowers here on the side, and oh, I have some little stars, and I'm sort of thinking I might start with this one here, which is my, you know, very, very basic pretend it's a nativity scene jar. And I mean, you could just leave them with no lid, but I think that would look weird having this inside it. But you know, if you were using battery operated tea lights, you could use it with no lid and pretend it's a real candle. Once again, do not put a real candle inside these. This is alcohol ink, it's highly flammable. I am not responsible for anybody who goes and puts fire inside one of these and burns their house down. You do that, it's on you. You've been warned. Okay, now, well, you know, sometimes you got to have those warnings, because people like me get excited and go, oh yeah, I'll do that, and bad things can happen, as we all know about all the bad things that have happened in this craft room. All right, so I'm just going to cut a little piece of this. It's a kind of a Hessian sort of ribbon. I'm going to cut a bit, I'm going to stick around the outside, then I'm going to stick some stuff on top, and I don't know what. I'm not going to bore you with it, because this is the part where you go off, take out all the Christmassy stuff you have in your stash, stick it on top of your lid, make it simple, make it complex, whatever you like, do your own thing. Once I've done mine, I'll show you what they look like, but I'm not going to run through and do a process, because it's going to be really boring as I go, oh, I don't know what I'm using. So with the, you know, the magic of television, I'll come back when these are done. So I can always tell when I'm not particularly happy with one of my projects by the way I lose interest in it. And I'm not particularly happy with this one, so I've covered the lid sort of one of them. I have not covered this lid yet. I think I'm going to put this one aside until I'm more in a mood for doing this sort of thing, and I need to find some other stuff to decorate it with, because I don't really know where I want to go with this. I've stuck a few things onto this lid, some Prima flowers and some stars, a bit of lace. I don't particularly like it. I don't know, it's you know what, it will serve as a prototype, so that at some later stage perhaps I'll get myself a better jar and I'll take more time and draw out a better design and do something kind of different, or rather do something similar but better than this. But in the meantime, it will do. My son likes it, so I might give it to him and he can have it, you know, next to, oh, this is the son who's sleeping in my lounge room at the moment, so he can have it next to the sofa, which is now his bed or something. I don't know. It's okay, you know, it's okay, I suppose. It's not great. But yeah, this is it. This is all you're getting. In terms of the light in a jar. I'm hoping to do another video tomorrow. This is now the night before going on retreat, so I have actually packed a different type of jar and a few other things, so hopefully I will get some time during my retreat time to do another video for you of a similar jar without the use of alcohol inks, something a little bit different. But for now, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your patience. When you make your own, and it's like a 500,000 million times better than mine, please show me. We'd love to see them, either on the retreat or on any of my social links, which you'll find below. I hope if nothing else, this at least gave you a little bit of amusement. That was the alcohol ink jar light experiment. Okay, thank you again for joining me. See you later, bye. Oh, P.S. I forgot to do the with the lights off, so there you go. With the lights off. It shines nicely with the lights off. There you go. Okay, now I'm going. Bye.